What is going on, everyone? Trust the Buzz here, and on this channel I make daily Charlotte Hornets content. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you've been living under a rock, or if you can't tell by the thumbnail or the title, DeJounte Murray got traded from the San Antonio Spurs to the Atlanta Hawks. Now, it has nothing to do with the Charlotte Hornets, you would think, but it actually has everything to do with the Charlotte Hornets, and in this video I'm going to explain why. Basically, the reason this matters, the reason this trade matters is just because of the fact that if you're a Hornets fan, you know that forever, it always seems like teams around the Charlotte Hornets get better way quicker, they just try harder to get better, unlike the Charlotte Hornets. Now, the reason I say that this is important, because you could be like, hey, this happens every season. Why is this particular trade such a big deal? The reason it's such a big deal is because we actually were toe-to-toe with the Atlanta Hawks. I know that they kind of played down last year after their Eastern Conference Finals run the year before, but we were playing toe-to-toe with the Atlanta Hawks until the play-in game, and then that was more of the Hornets giving up rather than talent. So I really feel like that we were neck and neck, and this team took a significant leap over the Charlotte Hornets. You would have your days where you could say the Hornets were better. You would have the days where you could say the Hawks were better, but now the Hawks are definitely better. And then, like I said, this happens time and time again. The reason this is so important is because it should put a lot of pressure on the Charlotte Hornets to want to make moves to get even better, because it seems like they were just so okay with taking their time and trying to get better, except when it mattered the most. So, like, for example, they went ahead, when we were trying to build a team, they went ahead and signed Gordon Hayward for that $30 million deal. Look how that's turning out for the Charlotte Hornets. Instead, that was one of the key times they should sit there and wait and let the team build. Now they're trying to get rid of them, and they can't find a trade partner, and look where we're at. We can't really get too much better because we have so much money tied up in Gordon Hayward. In this situation, in the Atlanta Hawks rather, in this situation, the Atlanta Hawks, they got DeJounte Murray, and all they gave up, I say all, but they gave up 3 first-round picks, which one of them were our 2023 first-round pick, and then Danilo Gallinari, who I think if he's cut by tonight, the Spurs will save a lot of money. So it really only took 3 first-round picks to get DeJounte Murray, and I know that's a lot, but at the same time, it's just like you would think it would take more, and there are other players who are out there that are worth somewhat similar that the Hornets could get. But the thing is, I just personally feel like the Hornets are going to not do anything as they usually do and just take their time, when, like I said, this time it actually matters. This time is where I would like to see them go and try to make a move like they did for Gordon Hayward, but we all thought that that wasn't a good idea, because why do that? There was no need to do that at that time, but they wanted Gordon Hayward. And the one thing about Michael Jordan, one thing about Mitch Kupchak is, I don't care if it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, if they're interested in somebody and they finally get a chance, they will bring them in. And I just don't think that is a good way to do it, but that's how they do it. Like, same with Steve Clifford. They both worked with Steve Clifford. That's how we ended up with Steve Clifford. Now, granted, I already said that, like, my opinion of Steve Clifford has changed since his interview, but at the same time, it's still, that's kind of the same approach that we're getting here. So I would like for the Charlotte Hornets to, you just have to make better moves now. Now, re-signing Miles Bridges isn't enough. Now, I don't really see how you can keep Gordon Hayward and expect to be a better team. Now, I will say, with Gordon Hayward healthy for a whole season and hopefully the playoffs, the Hawks are still better, but at least it's not that big of a gap. If you get a healthy Gordon Hayward who's averaging 18 points a game, who shoots as efficiently as Gordon Hayward does, and that plays pretty good defense, we're having a different conversation. But Gordon Hayward cannot stay healthy, so you just can't go into another season with someone who may play 40 games when the Atlanta Hawks have DeJounte Murray, and apparently the Miami Heat might, for some reason, get Jalen Brunson. I'm not saying for some reason as in it's not a good move, but for some reason as in Pat Riley is always going to get a meeting with the free agent. So these are things that the Charlotte Hornets got to think about. You're in win now mode. Well, now you got to, this is the thing. They love to say they're in win now mode, and they blame players for that. Like, oh, we're in win now mode, so we don't want this to happen. Or they blame coaches. Like, for example, with James Borrego, we're in win now mode, so player development shouldn't be that much of, your ideologies, and you shouldn't go into worried about player development. We need to win now. Well, how about the front office? We're in win now mode, so therefore I need you to make win now moves. And I get it. I keep saying Gordon Hayward, but I get that may not be possible just because his injury history and in his contract. But there are other moves that can be made. At least try. Like, that's all I'm asking, is just try do not sit back and let the other teams get better. Even the Washington Wizards, and I know Bradley Beal opted out of his contract, but he's more than likely going back to the Wizards. They tried to get better. They got Monte Morris, who's more than capable of being a starting point guard in his league. And then they got Will Barton, who is a really good wing to add to the really good wing. Well, I wouldn't say really good wings, but to add to the depth of wings they have. Like Corey Kispert, you got Danny Adia. Like, so you have just the teams around Charlotte getting better. Even the Orlando Magic, they're getting better. So the Charlotte Hornets really need to look themselves in the mirror. And if they're going to stay there in win now mode, then you got to make win now moves. You cannot sit back and wait and just try to just outweight all the teams, because the Hawks are young. DeJounte Murray is young. It's not like one of them situations where you're waiting out a team. I guess the Warriors would be a bad example now because their young players are so good. But it's not like, let's just use these things. It's not like they're waiting out the Clippers or they're waiting out the Lakers. Like, that kind of makes sense. You have a very young team. Those teams are really old. Like, or the Heat. Or the 76ers. It's not like you're trying to wait out these teams. The Hawks are a young, good team in our division. So it's just like, I feel like you have to be ready, because there's no waiting out the Hawks, because DeJounte Murray and Trae Young are so young. So I just feel like the Charlotte Hornets, that it's just, this offseason became that much more important. And like I said, I always say I'm not part of the team. My hands are not in the organization. So I don't know exactly what the moves are. I really haven't had time to think about it. But I'm just saying, as a Charlotte Hornets fan, this is the offseason where if you're going to say you're in win now mode, you need to make win now moves. I know all the moves aren't available. Like, you can't just automatically get DeAndre Ayton. You can't automatically offload Gordon Hayward's contract. But I needed to see some effort. Just because you're the one, and I'm talking Hornets front office, that's telling us that you're in win now mode. Well, if you're in win now mode and everyone else around you is getting so much better, why aren't you trying to get better? It's not going to be one of those situations where you can have LaMelo develop and wait for Miles to develop. Like, because by the time they get to their real superstar potential, because they're already, Miles is borderline all-star, and we've seen LaMelo already be an all-star. We're already like, okay, Terry Rozier, by the time they get to that point, Terry Rozier's not going to be Terry Rozier anymore. And then, like I said, you pay Gordon Hayward all this money, he might not even be playing like at that point. So these are things you got to think about as you're the Charlotte's front office. You just got to think about how everyone else is getting better, and you're trying to wait. You got to make big moves. So I really hope that they see this trade and realize that if you're going to say you're in win now mode, you need to make win now moves. But anyway, that does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And once again, if you like daily Charlotte Hornets content, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers before August. But once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.